I started out like everybody else in graduate school, mandatory psychopharmacology class. None of the negative impacts were discussed in that class. You know, that we didn't talk about potential for suicide. We didn't talk about, dementia. We didn't talk about, the risk of being on Ritalin and having a heart attack. We didn't talk about any of that stuff. You know, they sort of go down the different classes of drugs, and they even present the mechanism of action. Although it's theory, they presented it to us as if it was known. So, and you're in graduate school, and you don't have any time to question that stuff. So you memorize these mechanisms of action.
Can you give an example of a mechanism of action?
A perfect example is that Zoloft commercial we were looking at last night with the little, beads going back and forth.
While the cause is unknown, depression may be related to an imbalance of natural chemicals between nerve cells in the brain. Prescription Zoloft works to correct this imbalance. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right.
They showed very similar pictures to us in graduate school, but they bear absolutely no resemblance to what is actually going on in the human brain. And but they they present them and they say, okay, this is how this drug works, and they're not honest about that this is how we think this drug works. This is how theoretically this drug works. There is some evidence from rat studies that it works like this. Or that, but they don't talk about that. And they certainly didn't talk about what they knew about the damage that it did to the brain, or none of that stuff ever got brought up. So you leave thinking you have these wonder drugs. And they also present, very much drug company sponsored ideas like therapy and medicine when they're combined is the best way to go. So therapy is nice and medicine is nice, but if you combine them, you get this exponential effect, which of course isn't borne out in research that is not drug company sponsored. So and then of course things like exercise, or the complete alternatives to therapy or medicine, which would put us out of business, those are never discussed. So you leave with a certain information set, and then you go into your internship, and that's just reinforced. One of the things that probably was most appalling to me when I did get interested in this and start doing my homework was the dates that were on the journal articles that dismantled, for example, the suicide thing. I'm looking at this stuff, and it's 2000 something. And I'm looking at studies, or not studies, but articles that are published in journals that say like 1990, 1992. So this information has been out there for how long? And I graduated from with my PhD in 1999. I had never even heard of this thing, and we've already fast forwarded another 6 years. I didn't even know. I mean, how would I have known? But then I'm looking at these articles, and I'm looking at the dates on them, and how long has this information been out there? Why isn't it being disseminated? Why wasn't this brought up in this bastion of academics that I went to? An entire scientific piece of this equation was left out.